Friends and viewers, Oscar Wilde, this is complete plays, stories, and novel of Oscar Wilde. This is the complete works of Oscar Wilde. I had chosen for you a beautiful play written by Oscar Wilde. The name of this play is Salome. So this play is written by Oscar Wilde, and this is the play. It is about the historical Salome, the character of Salome on the days of Herod Antipas and Johanna, the prophet, the younger see. These are the character. So let us see what lies in this play. The play unfolds on the terrace. As this play begins, it started to unfold itself on the terrace of Herod. Herod was the governor of Palestine. Above the banquet hall, a gigantic staircase stands to the left. A cistern surrounded by a wall of green bronze appears at the back. The young Syrian exclaimed, "How Salome is beautiful tonight." Salome is the character, and it is as if she was dancing. "Look at the moon," cries Herodias. Herodias was the mother of Salome. Page comparing to the woman rising from her tomb, a woman looking for dead things. He warns the Syrian that he looks at the princess too much. A noise is heard in the hall, and the soldier complained that the Jews are shouting, are howling again about their religion. The first soldier observed that the Tetrarch, King Herod, has a sober look, and the soldier wondered at whom he is looking. Suddenly the voice of Johanna, the prophet, John of Baptist, is heard from the cistern, proclaiming the coming of the Messiah. The eyes of the blind shall see the day, and the ears of the deaf shall be opened. The first soldier explained to the Cappadocian that Johanna is a prophet from the desert. It is impossible to understand what the prophet says, and the Tetrarch has forbidden the prophet being seen. The Cappadocian remarks that the cistern must make an unhealthy prison. The second soldier protests Herod's elder brother, Herodias, first husband, lived there for 12 years without dying. Ultimately, he had to be strangled by the Naaman, the Negro executioner bearing Herod's death ring. The Syrian exclaimed that Salome approached. She enters, insisting that she cannot stay with Herod, looking at her all the while his mole eyes under his shaking eyelids. To the page horror, the Syrian invites her to sit. Salome welcomes the moon, cold and chaste with the virgin beauty. Johanna again announces the coming of the Lord. Salome asks if he is the prophet. Herod fears the prophet who maligns her mother. As Johanna preaches on, Salome insists that she speak to him. All attempt to dissuade her. She piles the Syrian to bring the prophet forth. The prophet emerges. This is a play. It is about this. There are various scenes and acts. Prophet emerges and Salome looks at him. Salome exclaimed that the prophet's eyes are terrible, above all, like black lakes troubled by fantastic moons. He is wasted ivory statue, chaste like the moon. Who is this woman who is looking at me? Protests Johanna. Bidding Salome be gone, Salome implores the prophet to speak on. His voice is like wine. She is amorous of his body. Johanna curses her anew, begging Salome to stop. The Syrian kills himself and falls between the prophet and the princess. Salome continues to ask Johanna to let her kiss him. He orders her to seek the Lord, refuses to look upon her, and descend into the cistern. The first soldier insists that they transport the body lest Herod see it. Suddenly the court enters and Herod calls for Salome, while Herodias reproaching him for always staring at her. Herod muses on the strange look of the moon, comparing her to a drunken mad woman looking for lovers. Herodias replies that the moon is like the moon. That is all, and bids him inside. Herod refuses, calling the servant to bring the festivities outside. Herod slips on the blood of the Syrian and gasps at ill omen. The soldier feign that they do not know why he had killed himself. Johanna announced that what he has foretold has come to pass. Herodias asked Herod to silence the prophet, since he is forever vomiting insult against her. Herod must certainly fears him, and that is the main reason that he does not deliver him to the Jews. Herod replies that the prophet is a holy man who has seen God. A Jew rejoins that God has hidden himself, and thus evil has come upon the land. Johanna announced the coming of the Savior of the world. A Nazrani declared that the Johanna speaks of the Messiah who works miracle. Herodias scoffs. Johanna curses the daughter of the Babylon with golden eyes and gilded eyelids, announcing her death by stoning, by the piercing of her body with swords, its smashing under shield. Herodes is enraged that Herod would let Johanna slander her. She is his wife. Herod changed the subject, proposing that all toast Caesar. Increasingly distractedly by Salome, Herod asks his daughter to dance for him. She refuses. He beseeches her, swearing to give her whatever she wishes. Salome dances. Herod invites Salome to ask for her reward, and she asks for the head of Johanna in a silver charger. Herodias applauds her. Aghast, Herod begs her to be reasonable. He offers her an emerald from Caesar that, if looked through, has telescopic properties. Salome continues to demand Johanna's head. Herod rejoins that Salome only asks to punish him for looking at her. He will look no more at neither things nor people. Only in a mirror should one look, for mirror do not do but show us mask. He offers the implacable Salome his flock of white peacock with feet of gilded gold. Salome is unmoved. Herod protests that Johanna might be a holy man and has foretold disaster on the day of his death. He offers all the hidden jewels. He would even give her the veil of the sanctuary to be released from his word. Salome refuses. Herod falls back, and the soldier bears his death ring to the frightened executioner. Moment later, a huge black arm emerged from the cistern, bearing Johanna's head on a silver shield. Salome sees it and tells the head that she will kiss its mouth now. But she wonders why Johanna refuses to look at her. He saw his God, but never saw her. She hungers for his body, and nothing will quench her. She was a virgin, and she took his virginity. If he had looked at her, he would have loved her, and love's mystery is greater than death's. Herod declares Salome monstrous. Herod refuses to stay and calls for the servant to put out the torches. He will not look at the things, nor suffers them to look at him. But on the torches hide the moon, hide the stars, he exclaimed. Herod begins to climb the staircase to the palace and the stage goes dark. The voice of Salome announces that she has kissed the prophet's mouth. It tasted bitter, perhaps blood or love. A moonbeam falls on Salome, covering her with light. Herod turns, and upon seeing Salome, orders the soldier to kill her. They rush forward and crush her beneath their shields. So this is how Salome had received her ends. And this play lasted how she, by the enticing of her mother, claimed the head of the prophet Johanna. So this is the story, how it ends. And the character involved in this play is, the persons of the play are Herod Antipas, Tetrarch of Judea; Johanna the prophet, the young Syrian captain of the guard; Tigellinus, a young Roman, Cappadocian and Nubian, first soldier, second soldier; the page of Herodias, Jews of Nazarene, etc., a slave; and Naaman the executioner; Herodias, wife of the Tetrarch; Salome, daughter of Herodias; the slaves of Salome. So this story, this is a play written by Oscar Wilde, Salome. This is about the historical character of Salome of the biblical time in Judea. So, ladies and gentlemen, Oscar Wilde written this play marvelously, and he had portrayed those characters of the Johanna and Salome and the Herodias. These is based on the guilty conscience of Herodias, how the Johanna accuses Herod of living a adulterous life with Herodias, the wife of his brother, the incestuous relationship. And this is a marvelous play. While we read it further, we will enjoy it. Thank you very much for the patient listening.